Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com. How about that new look third line, everybody? Sniping a couple. Adam Henrique finds the twine a couple of times. The Oilers on the back of a real solid Stuart Skinner performance, shutting out the Boston Bruins. Heck of a good result, dominating performance. And they sneak out of Boston with a 4-0 win. The road trip is off to a great start here as the Oilers, through a tough stretch of hockey, playing well. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight to this live post-game edition. We are coming at you live on Twitter and coming at you live on YouTube, coming at you live on Twitch as well. We're so happy you're taking a little bit of time to join us tonight. Rob Brown will check in a little while. Jason Strudwick is standing by, and Chris Sabunia is pulling the levers and pushing the buttons behind the scenes at Growler Media headquarters out in Kelowna. As always, our show is brought to you by Play Alberta, our title sponsor, the official gaming partner of all the major Alberta teams. Whoever you cheer for, Play Alberta is cheering you on. Bet on your favorites, get in on odds, boosts, and make game time more interesting. Deposit today and get a $50 free bet with the code GYB01. That is GYB01. We'll get you that free $50 bet. Visit playalberta.ca. I am still in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, our mobile Adrenaline Diesel studio for the week. They now have an online store for all your diesel truck parts needs. Make sure you check them out online at adrenalinediesel.ca. Fresh up running some stairs and shadow boxing, we say hello to Jason Sly Strudwick. How we doing, buddy?
Just trying to keep the look fresh, right? I don't ever want to be accused of being the same guy. So sometimes it's lavender, sometimes it's I look like Rocky Balboa.
Zuby, what are we thinking here, buddy? We got is it Rocky Balboa or is it like what are the other options here? We got a few possibilities.
There's a little 8 Mile creeping in there. I thought for sure. It's a little M&M, yeah. Maybe you drop a few bars for us here, Struddy.
Oh, I haven't warmed up the organ, Zoob. You know how that is. I can't.
Yeah. No, you leave your organ alone, Struds. Not in this show, buddy. We've heard you sing. I'd love to hear you rap at some point.
Do you in your karaoke repertoire? Do you have any hip hop songs, Struddy?
No. I'm not a rapper.
No.
I know some of the words, but there's too many words. They talk too fast. Right? I'm a slow talker.
All right, on, buddy. Well, as I said, Rob Brown will be joining us here in a little bit. Guys, been a fun week here in Sedona. You guys ever been to Sedona, Arizona? Ever come out this way, Struds, in your travels?
No, I've never been. What's it like?
Yeah, man. Well, it's the Red Rocks, right? Like the Red Rock Mountains.
Oh, right.
And we've had a blast. So we've been doing a combination of hiking and played a couple of rounds of golf, played a beautiful golf course today. It's been a really good week, man. It's a great spot to come chill out for a week or so. And it's been a lot of fun, although I do have to say I've been a little disappointed in myself. It has not been a good performance for me on the hiking trails. Like, it's just, I don't know, buddy. You talked about being scared of heights, and you and I have done lots. As like we did that thing for charity with Gregor about you and I being just crap scared of heights. I got to be honest with you, buddy. I got into a trail the other day. Oh, did the heart get pounding? And like, in order to hurt myself, I would have had to like take 2 hard steps to the right and throw myself over a cliff. Like, just stand there and you'll be fine. But it's just the heights, and I got vertigo. I got all rattled. Like, buddy, it has not gone well. I'm getting scared in my old age.
Yeah, just risk averse, right? You start getting into that 55, 60 range, and these things happen, right? So how's the back holding up, more importantly?
Not bad. I almost pulled the chute on the second round of golf today so the first hike Randine and I went on was supposed to be like an hour and a half. Well, we got lost, and an hour and a half turned into 3.5 real fast. And so that almost tanked the whole week. I was saying to her on the way back, I'm like, hey, we might just be like, huddled up in the Airbnb for the rest of the week. Like my heels were feeling it. My Achilles tendon was sore. My back was killing me. Something started hurting in my neck. I honestly thought the whole week was going to be tanked.
Wow. Well, way to play through it, buddy. Way to just go and enjoy the heat and golf. It sounds like a real warrior.
Yeah. Hey, you got to push through, man.
It sounds like you need the equivalent of the Peloton shorts for like other parts of your body as well.
Yeah, I do for sure. I'm going to be that guy that's covered in the tensor bandages and in the, what are those compression, like the compression sleeves and stuff like that. Okay, well, we got a hockey game to get to. I want to hear your opinion on a number of different things from this game, Struddy, and from you too, Zuby, because you're the goaltender of the group. So we'll tap your shoulder in a couple of minutes to weigh in on some stuff. But for now, let's get to breaking this beast down, brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. The 4x4 winter event is here. Get up to $11,200 in total discounts on a 2024 Ram 1500 DT Bighorn at your Alberta Ram dealer. See your Ram dealer today. Look at that fantastic looking truck. Could put a truck like that to some great use out in the country that I'm in right now. Go see your local Ram dealer. Okay, Struds, lots to get to from this game. Pretty impressive road performance. I mean, pretty dominant just in terms of the amount of time they had the puck throughout that game, the amount that they gave up through most of that game. Got a little leaky towards the tail end. Look, we're going to talk about Stu Skinner getting absolutely exploded. We're going to talk about the reaction and all of that. I'm not sure if that's necessarily where we need to start those, Struds, unless you're feeling extra passionate about it. But what's your headline tonight, pal?
Yeah, which one is it? I'm going to go with the team play. They just played a really mature game, and I made this point about what was it, Saturday night's game? Very mature performance. I know, especially through the first 55 minutes, Boston had very few chances. Very few chances. The way they're managing the puck, defending, making plays, like it's just really smart hockey, and it's so much fun to watch because they never look like they're out of control. Right? The only time they really look like they're out of control is when they make a foolish decisions, and those are very, very rare from this team. So I'll say it again: a very mature performance by a team that looks like they know the formula to win. This is how we play to win. This is what we have to do. And then when we make a mistake, our goalie is there to make a huge saves, and there was a huge save in this performance, well, multiple, but one that turned out to be pivotal for the Oilers tonight. So. Afterwards, they're kind of asking Knobloch about it, and he's kind of laughing. He's like, yeah, you know what? Players think it was a perfect game, but there's another chance for us to, add to things. But really, really sharp game by the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, I really like the way that they managed their game tonight. I like the way they held a Boston team that was really coming at them hard physically. And I thought the Oilers did a pretty good job. Look, a couple of their players had 5 and 4 hits each, basically accounted for half the Oilers hits. Everybody knows how I feel about the overall physicality in their game. What they showed tonight is they can absorb physicality and play a real solid game despite the fact they got a team that's trying to run around on them quite a bit. And I thought they did a good job of that tonight. So I definitely like that overall team game as well. Skinner was excellent. We'll get to the whole Stuart Skinner situation in a couple of minutes here, Struds. Let's talk about Adam Henrique, though, because this is not a guy that's been piling up the offense so far this year. And Chris Knobloch, you and Brownie, by the way, did a great job the other night on the show without me. And I loved your discussion about the line changes and maybe why and what was behind it and what was the thought process, right? And you were talking about what you thought it might look like as the trip really got underway in Boston. Well, lo and behold, he busts out the lines, and Zach Hyman is a third-line player on the wing again. Adam Henrique in the middle. They got Jeff Skinner, the much-maligned Jeff Skinner over on the left side. And it ends up being a line that a few of the players produce some points. Adam Henrique gets a couple of goals. But maybe start with Henrique and some nice touch, bud.
Yeah, there's for sure. I just want to make a follow-up point about the Boston Bruins. They were trying to be physical, but it looks like they're throwing manhole covers to each other the way they were passing the puck. Like there was grenades going off everywhere. And
agreed.
They look very disconnected the way they're playing right now. And it's like, how many times do you see a Boston Bruin have to kind of get a pass, then try to chop it down, then he tried to make another pass. Like they do not look good. And so I get it. You're turning to physicality, not you, but they are turning to physicality to try to get something going. But it's great to hit people, but man, you've got to make a few connected passes. It wasn't like their power plays today. That was not what we're accustomed to seeing from that group. They've got good power play people. Pasternak, Marchand, and McAvoy. That's 60% of a pretty good power play. Then you fill in the other guys. So that's just my point there.
Great point.
As far as the Oilers lines, I Brownie felt they wouldn't stick to these lines. I did feel strongly about it. I thought that they're going to keep together, get those guys going. And I'll stick by my comments the other night. I believe he's trying to make it fresh for the players. He's trying to make it not uncomfortable, but keep it fresh for these guys and keep them, feeling differently. So, Skinner gets going, and Rico, you guys know how I feel about my good buddy Rico. I've never met him. I love the way that he's plays, and he's so smart. And for him to get rewarded with 2 goals tonight was great. And you look at the 2 goals, especially the second one. That's how I view them succeeding in the playoffs. Half-court offense, cycling down low, wearing teams down, get a turnover, goes behind the net, and bang, it's on and off his stick before he even knows what happened to the other team. So that line was good, the way they played, and then the Hyman line as well. Like they're all kind of going and skating and playing well together. But I love the fact that they're mixing up these lines. I truly believe this is important to happen.
Yeah, I thought you guys had a great debate about it the other night, Struds. What I'll say is, I don't know if you tinker just with the sole purpose of saying we got to keep it fresh here. I think that that's definitely a benefit of doing it, is keeping it fresh. And I think there's motivation there behind doing that. And I will ask Knobloch that, on the tail end of the road trip when they get back. But I think everything has to be done with a purpose, right? So why are you making the changes that you're making? They have to make sense. It's got to make sense to the players who you're asking. Normally first-line players are going to be a third-line player right now. And here's, the thought process. Not that you need to apologize or explain it to death, but it's got to make a little bit of sense, right? So it honestly might be as simple when you're talking to Zach Hyman, and I believe this is part of the case. I think Adam Henrique is a really important player that I think they need to get going a little bit. And I think giving him Zach Hyman is an opportunity to do that. So even if you're saying to Hyman, hey, trying to get Rico going here a little bit. Let's, get the cycle going, see if we can get him going a little bit. Zach Hyman, all over that opportunity and all over that challenge. So yes, it keeps it fresh, but I think it was as much about getting Adam Henrique going by giving him an elite player to play with, right? And I think that there's some method to this, to this chemistry experiment that we've seen from Chris Knobloch. Look at what he's done with Jeff Skinner. Look at how he has handled this player hitting rock bottom, and now he's starting to build him back, letting the player's results build up his confidence. And we're seeing that. Now you got Adam Henrique with Hyman next to him, starting to feel it a little bit. And he's building some options for himself, Struds. And you guys talked about it before. You need to know in the playoffs. You're down 2-0 in a series and you need to get drastic. Well, what do you got, right? And I think he's learning some of that through this process as well. And this third line to me is a great example of that. And by the way, don't hate that fourth line either. Like I thought that they had their moments as well in this game.
Yeah, they sure did. And Corey Perry, I mean, what more do you want from that guy? Like, honestly, the way what he's doing, what he's playing. Your point is really well made. I like that I hadn't considered the idea of getting Henrique going, because I think he does something every night that is important. It just maybe hasn't been scoring as much. So I think that's a really good point. But if you look at Hyman's face after Henrique scores, you can tell how he feels. Like, this isn't a guy that's sour he's on this line. This is a guy who's genuinely happy that he's there. And I think it was Brownie made the point last pod. He said, Hyman's the type of player that he gets it. He's there for the team, right? He wants to help the team be their best. And if that's what they need to do for now, he'll do it. Like, I don't see him being sour about it or disgruntled. So that's a really good point. But that all bottom six today, they all contributed. Really, the offense came from the bottom six. I guess an empty netter and then McDavid's goal. But those guys they got it going. They had it, 5-on-5. They had it going on.
Let's get to the Weiss Johnson Soundbox, brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. If it's time for a new furnace, garage heater, or hot water tank, Weiss Johnson is here for all your home comfort needs, specializing in servicing your existing systems or installing new ones. Stay cozy this winter. Visit Weiss-Johnson.com today. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Adam Henrique, 2 shots, 2 goals, and wasn't letting much time pass with it on the stick. He was letting it rip. Here he is.
Yeah, get him on and off the tape. Warren Reichel says always shoot a rolling puck. So it's, you got to be there. Just trying to make that quick play and fortunate enough to get the 2.
You're not on this team solely to score goals. You do a lot of other different things, but nice to kind of see the puck go in a couple times for you.
Yeah, the other one the other night, might have been in or might not have with the TV timeout and stuff. Is when they're not going in, it seems impossible sometimes. But it's nice to get on the board and certainly helps with the confidence. But again, it's the overall game and making sure that I'm solid in all situations as well.
All right, there was Adam Henrique. Zuby, did we grab a Chris Knobloch clip as well?
Yeah, he's mostly talking about Stu Skinner's game.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll that. Chris Knobloch on his goaltender tonight.
Well, especially in the first half of the game, I thought we defended really well. We did have some breakdowns, and Stu came up with some really big saves. And I think probably the biggest one was on the power play in the second period. We gave up that breakaway. He makes that save, and then we go back and we score. And, he doesn't make that save. It's probably a completely different game. But he makes that save, we score, and then we kind of, we're able to a little bit cruise through that game. But, yeah, I thought, and then third period, obviously, they had a strong push, and another big performance from him.
Okay, making an executive decision because I want Rob Brown to be part of the discussion. So we're going to take Stuart Skinner and we're going to move him into our takeaways segment. So a few other elements that we can get to from this game, Struds, before we move into that. So Connor McDavid had, 3 goals in 16 games, I think, coming into this game. And lots of talk on the broadcast. You saw Gene talked about it. Jack and Louie talked about it as well. And I've seen this before from Connor McDavid. I believe he did it, I want to say, in St. Louis last year, right in and around the trade deadline. Every once in a while, Struds, and he's always a great practice player. Every once in a while, he will lean into it noticeably in practice. Stays out longer, puts in extra time, works on specific things. Sounds like that's what he was doing the last couple of days. He came out tonight with the intention to drive the net, which he did hard on his first shift, and to try and shoot the puck a little bit more. 8 shot attempts, 5 shots on net tonight, and he got himself off the schneid and scored a goal.
When you're not feeling it, in whatever it is for you, physicality, passing, moving your feet, whatever it is, you gravitate towards that before or after practice. And that's why it's kind of cool when you go to morning skate, you can see what the guys are thinking or at practice.
Yeah.
So for a guy like Connor to use your words, lean into it and to dial that in and get back to what he's really good at. He's really good when he uses speed and drive. Well, he's really good at a lot of things, but when he drives the net, those are suggesting me he's not feeling the easy ones right now, right? The easy ones being, shots from the back door, whatever it is. So he drives the net hard, creates his own chaos in front of the net. And that is how he gets himself going. Much like a guy like Darnell Nurse, when he's not feeling it, he goes and decides to be really physical, right? Or Zach Hyman goes and plants himself in the blue paint. Everyone finds a way that gets himself going. That's Connor's way, or one of the ways he gets himself going. So I think that started. Then he got that breakaway. He's like, okay, this is my chance. And there was no doubt about that breakaway. I don't think that he ever thought he wasn't going to score in that one. And that was a turning point. The save by Skinner, and then that one within 20 seconds, bang, game over. Connor on the board, and you move on.
Lots of love on the YouTube stream here for Brett Kulak. And by the way, thanks for joining us live on the YouTube stream. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up button for us. I think that helps us out. But we appreciate you. We got a real solid number on the stream with us tonight. We can't wait to get to our Ask Us Anything segment. That'll come up a little bit later on in the show. But Struds, lots of love for Brett Kulak tonight on the stream. He was 24 minutes, 24 seconds, a couple of assists, 3 shot attempts. I think he blocked 3 shots as well. So pretty solid work from 27.
Well, he's playing way above his pay grade. Like, let's just call it. What is he? Is he 3.25 or is he 2.75? Either way, he's playing way above where his pay grade suggests. Even look at the play that he to get the empty net goal. Really strong play. Skates, gets his feet moving, identifies open player, whips it across right on to a streaking open Arvidsson, and Arvidsson makes, does what he does with it. But he's just playing so strong and so heavy. He's skating, taking away space. Just all the things that when you have such a good skating ability, you want to see from a player.
Yeah, 2.75, I believe. I want to ask you a question about Corey Perry. So Corey Perry gets into it. Who was it? Frederick?
Yeah.
So he throws the hit. Frederick comes over and clearly is instigating and challenging him. And Perry's kind of standing there smiling or whatever. Then Perry starts skating away. Still a fairly pivotal point in the game at that point. That was when it was 1-0. Corey Perry then agrees to drop the gloves and fight. Now, we have seen more often in the NHL this season, Struds, that if you are the one that goes over and clearly instigates the fight by being the challenger, you're the one that clearly is in his face challenging him to fight. Even if you drop your gloves at the same time, even if you don't throw the first punch, they're calling instigators on guys who clearly are go looking for it. Do you believe Corey Perry knew Frederick was going to get the instigator, and that's part of why he agreed to drop the gloves? I think he did.
Well, there's two ways to look at it. One is that it's 1-0 for your team in another team's barn, and someone's looking to get something going. That's not a time to fight. I always thought when the team was up 1-0, it wasn't a good time to fight, unless I felt like it beat the wheels off the guy or he did something bad. I don't like that, because it gets energy into a building that really had up to that point very little energy. Now, I think that it was actually embarrassing after a while how long Frederick kept trying to do this. And so I think the rest are like, hey, we're going to do this. But I do think Perry understands if you wait long enough, perhaps the ref is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I
think he knew. We've seen it more this year.
Yeah, I don't love the call. I would have maybe rather give him 10. Give him 5 and a 10. Just like at some point you have to get the guy's not taking the fight. But a dangerous time because Frederick kind of gave it to Perry. And I'm not saying that to undermine what Perry did. But if that gets the building
lost
rocking,
the fight. But...
Yeah, but if the building gets rocking and they come back, you're like, that's a turning point in the game. But instead, it was the penalty and then the goal subsequent to that was the turning point in the game. So ultimately, a dumb decision by Frederick to get that. He's skated after a while. You got to like, this isn't happening. I'm skating away. But I think he persisted so long, the rest had a call. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, and I think somewhere in Perry's head, like Leon Draisaitl described Corey Perry as having the best in-game sense he's ever seen of what's needed. So here they are 1-0 with all the momentum. Corey Perry knows not to drop his gloves and fight in that situation, right? He knows that. So I believe Corey Perry knew that instigator penalty was coming, and that's why he eventually, because there's no power play if he doesn't drop the gloves and fight. If he doesn't drop the gloves and fight, right, they both just skate away and it's over. But by engaging in that fight, I think he knew the refs were going to give Frederick the extra 2. Rob Brown checking in on this part of the conversation. Brownie, what say you, buddy? Do you think Perry knew? And hello, by the way.
Oh, hi, hey guys. Yeah, I believe he probably knew. I think two things. Eventually pride took over. It's like, okay, this guy has hit me like 9 times. He's calling on my manhood. I would fight him at any other time. I shouldn't do it now, but okay, enough's enough. I can only take so much. And B, he realized if he drops it, the guy should be getting an extra 2 because he's done nothing. Perry hasn't, except take the abuse all the way to center ice, and then he fights him. Again, Corey Perry, to me, at the beginning of the year, was somewhat of a question mark. His age, his skating. We saw he didn't play all the playoff games last year. Would he play all the games this year? I have seen nothing but positives out of Corey Perry this year. I agree 100% with the comment you made from Leon Draisaitl, the sense of what's needed for his team in a hockey game. I don't know if I've seen a mistake by Corey Perry this year. I think seriously, everything he has done has been the right play, offensively, defensively, fighting. I think he has been a fantastic re-addition to the team this year, and I thought that was a really smart play at that moment to get the Oilers a power play.
All right. Brownie, you hopped in right at the tail end of our breakdown segment, so we're going to get our relentless player and then our poll, and then we are going to head to a quick break here. So, Struddy, grab our relentless player, brought to you by You Can Youth Services. Their annual Comedy Nights fundraiser is almost here. 2 great ways you can help support youth in our community. Purchase tickets or a table for one of these unforgettable comedy nights, or donate items or experiences to be featured in the silent auction. If you or your company maybe has an opportunity to donate something, it raises money for an amazing local organization that helps youth in our area. Your support makes all the difference. To donate or grab your tickets, visit youcan.ca. Struds, who are you giving it to, buddy?
Well, that's an easy one. Stu Skinner. I won't get to him, the bigger picture conversation, but he was so good. That the save right before McDavid scored his empty netter, the power play goal, and then the last 10 minutes, he made some massive saves. Played really, really well. Got a shuttle, but doesn't get it, which is I just don't understand that. That's the dumbest rule, I think, in the way they officiate it. But Stu Skinner to me was tapped and followed closely by Corey Perry.
Love it. We'll get to more Stu Skinner in the next segment, Brownie. We haven't talked at all about Skinner's night. We wanted to save that whole storyline for when you were able to join us. So we'll get to that coming up in takeaways. By the way, before we get to a break, let's have Zuby hop in here. Zuby, and let's get to our De Boers Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll, helping you play better golf since 1999 with their TrackMan fitting bays, instruction, after-sales support, golf merch, and clothing. Go check them out in their pro shop style atmosphere, 5311 99th Street here in Edmonton. Scott would not have been proud of me for the way my driver behaved today. And I have no excuses because I can't say I haven't golfed at all in 3 or 4 months, guys. I've been in the sim nonstop, and it was not a great day. Zuby, what do you got tonight, buddy?
You can't see him, Brownie, but people are commenting on your appearance tonight too, that maybe it looks like it wasn't a great day.
I like somebody chimed in and said it looks like Struddy and Schauger are preparing for a bank heist, which I thought was
all right, let's get into the De Boers Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. The question tonight is, how did you feel about the team's response to Zadorov hitting Stu Skinner? And the options are, I'm fine with it, get him on the power play. Option 2 is not ideal, but no big deal. Option 3 is needed an immediate response. And option 4 is inexcusable all the way around.
All right. And that will be part of what we get into in our next segment. Definitely send in your comments on that one. Want to hear what you have to say and give us your votes, and we'll give you a result coming up a little bit later on in the show. Still tons ahead here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. We'll be right back. Thinking of that dream vacation? A quick winter escape? Well, flight delays are dreadful. Hospital visits, not fun. Alberta Blue Cross gives you coverage for emergency medical care, cancellations, and lost baggage. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Plus 24/7 travel support ensures you're never left out in the cold. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
All right, time now to get to our takeaways, brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf. John Deere is a legendary brand. We all know it. And Horizon Ag and Turf is your local John Deere dealer. Now with 13 locations, visit Horizon Ag and Turf for all your lawn and garden, agriculture, commercial landscaping, small construction, and golf course equipment needs. They got it all. You know what they say, nothing runs like a deer. Visit them online at horizonagturf.com. That's horizonagturf.com. All right, there are two conversations that we need to have, and we are going to very clearly separate them. One is the quality of Stu Skinner's play tonight and how much he meant to the team. And two is him getting absolutely blown up to bits by Nikita Zadorov and the team's response or lack thereof. We're going to push that conversation to the back burner, and we're going to give Skinner some flowers for his overall play tonight. First and foremost, Struddy, you made him the relentless player. Tell us a little bit more about what you liked.
the timing of his saves, right? It's not always the save you make; it's the timing of it. And you go back to the breakaway shorthanded that he faced, and he makes a massive save with his blocker to preserve to keep it. And then 10 seconds later, McDavid scores on an empty netter. So the timing of that was perfect. If that one goes in, it's 1-1, and it changes the tone of the game. Instead, it's 2-0. And the way the Bruins have been playing, and not just in this game but previous games, you're pretty much like, okay, guys, this one's over as long as we don't get crazy with penalties and such. Even though Bruins don't have a good power play, so Brownie, to me, it's the timing of his saves tonight that was as important as the actual total number.
Well, 100% Struts, and the timing on that one, but also there was 2 breakaways and a save on Marchand in the third period. And again, the timing on those, it was 3-0 at that point, but the Bruins did have a push. And if they score on one of the breakaways, or if Marchand scores where he comes around off the side and around and Skinner got his toe on it, those go in, it's 3-1 with about, 8-9 minutes to go. And then there's some belief, and then there's some energy in the building, and all of a sudden it's a lot more stressful. But Skinner came up big in those spots again. And I know that Schauger just said we're going to give Skinner some flowers for tonight's game. I think you're giving him flowers for the way he's played in the last 2 months. There's been a lot of flack about Stuart Skinner over the last 2 years, whether he's good enough to lead the Oilers to a Stanley Cup. And there's still a lot of people that don't believe in Stuart Skinner as a goalie. I think he was excellent again tonight. I think he's been excellent for most of this season. I thought he was excellent for most of the playoffs. And tonight you're just seeing that he's continuing to mature as a player, mature as a goalie. And as you said, Struts, big-time goalies come up with big saves at big moments. And Stuart Skinner did that tonight.
Yep, completely agree. Just a really I love the way he played late in that game too. Because quite frankly, Evan Bouchard was doing everything he could to give the Boston Bruins an opportunity to snap that shutout. I don't know how many times he turned the puck over in the last 8 minutes. And there were a few other players that did it too. Like if you're Skinner, you're like, are you guys kidding me? And I know he wouldn't register the shutout anyway, statistics-wise, but I thought the Oilers kind of buckled around him a little bit, and he was fantastic for himself to preserve that 0 up on the scoreboard when his team spit the bit a little bit there late. Yes, incredibly valuable player, incredibly important player. You might want to keep an eye out for him now and then. Here is Stuart Skinner post-game. Interesting comments from the goaltender about what went down with Nikita Zadorov. Back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Boys, here it is.
They got a call from Toronto. TD warned me when we were on the ice. He asked me how I was feeling, and obviously all the protocol there that he's got to do, and he just said, I don't really have too much control, but if they call down and you got to come out, then it's what it is. So, they called down, and honestly, it's a smart call. He got me pretty good. Like, I think that's like the 5th hit I've got this year. So, he apologized after in the start of the second period, which was really nice of him to do. And it's NHL play and happens.
There would be a brawl after something like that. Yeah. We've kind of passed those days. What does a goalie think of that?
I mean, I don't. I can only speak for myself. I wasn't too worried about it. He's also 8 feet tall, so I wasn't expecting anybody to go fist with him.
That's like the 5th time that's happened to me this year. Like, I love the fact that he said that, because this happens too much. I'll weigh in on the YouTube poll, guys. Absolutely inexcusable that nothing happens in the moment. Absolutely inexcusable. You got players looking to go, what was that? To the referee. Like with like this, just like, he's not allowed to do that. Embarrassing. Like inexcusable and embarrassing that nothing happens in the moment when your starting goaltender gets exploded like that by one of the other team's players. Nobody has to go toe-to-toe with Zadorov in the moment. I don't expect Evan Bouchard to square up with him or anything stupid like that. But Bouchard, Kulak, Kapanen, go over and jump on the guy. And if it evens up, who cares? You have to respond in the moment, and it's inexcusable to me that they didn't. That's where I stand. Struds?
I've been agonizing over this question since I saw it happen. The reality is that Zadorov could beat up all 5 guys on the ice at the same time. They were there. So do you
Don't try
think
that
that any
again,
of them? Yeah, no, it didn't start off the best. But he could beat up all 5 guys that were on the ice for sure. All 5 of them at once. And so I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around any of those 5 guys going and confronting him in that moment.
He was on his back. He was on the ice.
I know.
There would have been no squaring up.
I don't know.
I'll weigh in, Strud.
Yeah, go ahead. I think the game's changed. I don't think it's really there anymore.
Yep.
Brownie?
Of course it has.
Yeah, I had no problem at all. What is going and jumping on his back doing? Is that going to change the way Zadorov plays or any other player plays against the Oilers? It was a hockey play. Zadorov tried scoring. He didn't. It wasn't an intentional where he threw the puck in the corner and ran the goalie. He was trying to score a goal, and in the midst of it, hit the goalie. It happened. What Skinner said, it's an NHL play. Why, if Bouchard would have jumped him, thrown 80 punches, is that going to change anything? Is the next player going to think second, I better not go hard on the Oilers' net, because if I do that, I might have to fight Bouchard or Kulak or Kapanen or Nurse or anyone. No, to me, it's a hockey play. Who cares? Go out and score on the power play. This is a different NHL. The teams do, before every game, teams sit and say, do not take a dumb penalty against the Oilers because their power play can kill us. Zadorov was not trying to hurt Skinner. Zadorov was trying to score a goal. There's no intimidation in the National Hockey League. If the Oilers would have all jumped on him, if they would have started banging their sticks over his head, it's not changing what the next player does when he comes down on Stuart Skinner. So to me, they didn't need a response. Take the power play and try and score.
Struds, back to you.
Yeah, I think the game has changed now. If someone says, "Well, what's your reaction?" I would have jumped him and I would have tried to hurt him like that. It wouldn't even been a question. But that's a long time ago, and also I'm almost the same size as Zadorov, although a smaller head. So I just don't know what is expected of the 5 players on there to do, and I think that it's changed a ton. It's just changed a lot. So. Yes, my initial reaction, and that's why I'm not worried about what other people think about my answer. My initial reaction was, someone should lose it on this guy. Like, remember when I got mad about Bouchard getting hit into the post by Hartman?
Yeah.
I lost it. That's Hartman. He's a small little guy, and that was intentional. I don't believe this to be intentional. Did he drive the net intentionally?
What?
Yes. But I don't think he intentionally meant to ran the goalie. Later in the game, Darnell Nurse bumped Swayman. Was that on purpose? Oh, that was on purpose, my friends. So
that was a love tap compared to what Zadorov did. That was a love tap.
Yeah, but
that was Nurse kind of going, I'm not going to try too hard here. It was not even in the same hemisphere in terms of velocity.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Schauger, but that's not what Struds is saying. Struds is saying that what Zadorov did was a hockey play. What Nurse did was kind of a message being sent. It wasn't the same. No, it wasn't, but it was intense. Zadorov had no intent of hitting Skinner. He's trying to score. Are you kidding me? That guy has a chance to score a goal. He's putting everything into it. So to me, if Zadorov runs someone purposely trying to hurt them, you need response. It's a hockey play. That's a hockey play. You got the power play. So no, there's no response needed on that. You simply take the power play, score a goal, win a hockey game.
Interesting. I love the disagreement here. I cannot disagree with you more. I just can't. I think that it speaks to competitiveness. I think it speaks to gamesmanship as a team. I think it speaks to it's a symptom of something that this team has had creeping into its game for some time now, which is just letting the details of competitiveness go. This is not a team that feels that the competitive details of the game matter that much, and that they, as a unit, they don't band together to take care of the difficult stuff consistently enough. So I completely disagree.
I disagree. I disagree 100% with you. 100% I disagree. This team is focused on one thing: winning. That's all they care about, winning. And they are doing that better than any team in the National Hockey League. You talk about hitting all the time. This team doesn't have to hit to win. They just don't. They got out hit 48-18 tonight. They were by far the better team, and it wasn't even close. This team understands what they're good at and how to win hockey games. And that's why they were almost Stanley Cup champions last year, 1 goal away. And that's what they're building for this year. So If something was done intentionally to hurt one of their players, they would band together, and I have no doubt in my mind. But on something like on a
Brownie,
hockey play, why would
if they're not reacting to that, they're not reacting to anything, buddy. There is no more obvious thing to react to other than Connor McDavid getting blown up. That was not. He drove right through the crease and right through the goaltender.
Because he was trying to score. That's a hockey play. It happens all the time. Hockey play. McDavid has done it this year where he's gone through the crease and blown up a goalie. Did you expect the other team to go beat him up?
Yeah. If you hit a goalie like that, you got to expect incoming Struds. Zadorov is in that Bruins locker room tonight. They're laughing. They're going, are you kidding me? Nobody did it.
Really? After a 4-0 loss, they're laughing?
Well, you know what I'm saying about that incident specifically.
They lost 5 games in a row. They're not laughing.
No,
I don't think they're laughing about anything.
About that specific incident.
No, I disagree. I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, I disagree too.
So, yeah, the idea that the game has changed a lot. I was looking for other examples of this having happened.
Yeah.
Zuby, you can go ahead and roll in these still frames we have, guys. So this is 2 years ago. Tampa Bay Lightning are a highly skilled team, and they're a highly skilled team that'll hurt you with their power play as well, right? So this is Bortuzzo coming in and colliding in a 2-0 game with Vasilevsky. We can't show you the video because we don't have copyright to do that. So he skates through the crease, driving the net, blows up Vasilevsky, and then take a look at what the absolute immediate reaction was. Steven Stamkos is in that pile. Sergachev is in that pile. There were multiple players with their gloves off within a millisecond of their goaltender getting hit. Guys, this is what it is supposed to look like.
But you're cherry picking one that you found. There would probably be 30 other times this year where nothing happened. And there's no video of it because nothing happened. You don't know the context of that game. Maybe earlier in that game, someone ran Vasilevsky behind the net. Maybe Tampa was down 8-0 in that game. Maybe Bortuzzo cross-checked someone across the face earlier. You just cherry-pick one thing. Watch the NHL every night.
Blew their goalie up in the crease.
Yeah, but you don't know what happened
before. He did the same thing.
Why?
It doesn't matter what he did before. He blew the goalie up, and that's how you react when someone blows your goalie up.
Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you right now. The Edmonton Oilers players on the ice did nothing. They had no problem with it. The coach had no problem with it. This is the best team in the National Hockey League. If their team feels okay with everything, that the hockey play happened, and they're going to score a goal on the power play, I trust they know what they're doing.
Struds, what about Stu saying, this is the 5th time it's happened this year? He just happened to drop that in his post-game comment. That's the context, Brownie. It's the 5th time this year, and the goalie made a point of saying that.
So you think if Bouchard jumped on him that would stop players from driving the net? Are you crazy?
Do something. Don't do nothing. The answer is not to do nothing. Struds, go.
Well, it is do nothing.
The problem is that I'm stuck between the dinosaur and then the new age guy. And the dinosaur in me wants to agree with you and say they should have had a brawl. They should go fight him in the parking lot. But the reality is the players don't have that mindset. Josh Brown asked him to fight, or looked like he asked him to fight, and Zadorov said no. So Josh Brown just got called up. Should he go and seek that fight out no matter what and take it like Frederick did? And can that change the context of a game? And is he willing to do that when he just got called up? That's a tough space to be in for a guy in that spot. So I don't know. I mean, I don't remember him getting hit 5 times this year. That'd be pretty much, one every 6 games. I don't remember quite that much happening. But I think the bigger thing I have to say is that this group got within 2 shots of winning the Stanley Cup last year. The core of this group understands how hard it is, how physical it is. So I'm going to trust that group to know what it feels like and looks like to get to the Stanley Cup final because they've done it. They went through that heavy. And I don't remember one series last year where I thought they were getting run out of a building from being physical or their goalies getting run. So
and that was a team that through the regular season was middle of the pack in terms of their hits per 60 and the way they approached their physical game. They were middle of the pack during the regular season. So that group you're describing, this group is by a mile the least physical team in the league. And I'll ask you each this question, and then I'll let you have the last word because I'm working on doing that. I believe at least 30, if not 31 other teams react differently to that tonight. Agree or disagree, Struds?
I disagree.
I
Disagree 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Can't wait to hear what people have to say on our YouTube poll. It's a great debate and a great topic. That was our takeaway segment, brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf. Take a quick break. When we come back, got a little Struddy's World, got a little Brownie points. Ask us anything. Lots more ahead on a highly charged show tonight.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolanddentistry.com.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
Sure.
Oh, too late. Whoa, that's something else. Here we go.
What did we decide on, Zuby? What are we doing now?
Oh, let's do a check-in on the poll.
Let's do a check-in on the YouTube poll. Yeah, go for it, buddy.
All right, let me bring the shot in here, though, first. No, it's going to be this one with Brownie. That can be me, too.
There we go.
No big
I'm
deal.
having technical issues, too.
No worries. Well, what's pretty interesting about the poll to this point is that even though there's 4 different answers, it's very close. Needed an immediate response is winning right now. But if you look at 2 answers that were kind of like, it's okay what they did, and 2 answers saying, I wish they would have responded, it's almost 50-50 when you split the 4 answers.
Really?
Yeah, on the stream, lots of good comments on the stream. The people sort of on Brownie's side of things are basically saying, hey, they got the win. They got the win. But there are a lot of people saying, let me get to a couple here. Ro Nelson said, as long as someone says sorry, then I guess it's okay to run goalies. Tango said, even a push or a slash for a response would have been nice. DC43 says, I agree with Rishaug. You have to look after your goalie at all times. Yeah, that was kind of, and then a good point from Gord Parchewski saying, but shouldn't the league protect the goalies as well? And I think that's, if there was more of that element, then maybe we wouldn't have to, maybe this argument wouldn't be so heated. If the league were to take better care of them. And I do think, for the record, that it was a hockey play, and I don't think he meant to do it, but I still, but he's in, Stu, I watched it back a few times. Stu is 100% in the, he is completely in the blue paint. Kulak, there's a little shove there, but he doesn't push him in. It's a hard hit, even though I don't think it was like, I don't think he went in there thinking, I'm going to blow up the goalie. He's a guy who's like not a goal scorer cutting to the net like that. Maybe isn't, complete, doesn't have his positioning 100%. Yeah, it's a good hard hit for me as a goalie. I don't think they needed to blow him up or 5 guys jump on him, but I would have liked to see something. I didn't love the look of Kulak turn. I think you were saying Schauger too. I didn't love him just turning around and shrugging his shoulders while his goalie's laid out there. So that was my 2 cents on it.
All right, and that from our resident goaltending expert, Zuby.
High level goaltender.
Yeah. All right. It's a great debate on the show tonight, and we'll get some more response to that and ask us anything. Should we go Brownie points or Struddy's World? Which one, buddy? Roll the intro if you want to go Struddy's World.
Let's do it.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. Gotta look good.
All right, time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by Timber House Developments. When you become part of the Timber House family, you might be surprised how close you get to the people in the process. If you want to check in on things, no problem. Stop by the job site. If you want to chat with the crew at head office, stop by anytime. They've got fantastic coffee. Making you the most important part of the home building process. Go to timberhouse.ca. Struddy?
It's been a while since I've talked about how great the Oilers' penalty kill has become. And I think tonight's a good opportunity to jump in there. They're working their way up. They had a really bad start, so they're slowly working their way up. I think they're 23rd now in the league, which is pretty good. But, you always look for signs of confidence and then willing to have other people do the job. Today, one of the penalty kills, the Oilers were out there for maybe 20, 25 seconds, not even. They iced the puck down, and they changed. And as a coach, that must just make your knees buckle because you're like, you know what? We did our job. Yeah, we could probably stay out another 20, 30 seconds, but what if we get caught in there? Let's get fresh people out there and they'll go do the job. So that means that group of, and this was the forward specifically, whether it's Nuge or Henrique or Paul Colson or just go through the group, they trust each other and they understand that they're just part of it. They don't have to do all of it. Only do their 20, 30 seconds, get off. That's fine. Let someone else come out there and do it. I love the rotation they have, and you can tell the confidence they have in themselves, but more importantly, in each other as a group. That's why that thing is working its way up the ladder. Still a long ways to go to get to half, 15th in the league, but it's a good start after the last little stretch here, boys.
Brownie.
Struds, on that penalty kill, it has been exceptional for quite a while, and the only reason that it's not in the top 15, the top 12 now, is because the Oilers are so disciplined now. They don't take many penalties. And when you had as bad a start to the season as the Oilers had, it takes a long time to be able to equal that out. And the Oilers' penalty killing has been great, but they're only killing one or two a night, and it takes forever to eventually get to where now you're at 85% on the season, or you're in the top 12 or top 10 in the league. But as for what they've done in the last, I don't know what it'd be, 8 weeks, I mean, they're over 90%. Like, this penalty killing unit is where it was last year in the playoffs, where it was last year when they won 16 games in a row. And another of the big reasons that the Edmonton Oilers are on this run that they're on. It has been excellent the way they've been playing.
You know what I like, too, is I like their involvement of a pile of different guys. And they're taking guys who it's taken a little bit of work to integrate them, Struds, but they've invested in that in some guys, and I think it's paid off. Like Podkolzin has become a usable penalty killer. Kapanen has come in. And if you look at his penalty killing minutes over the last couple of seasons, he has not done it, to my recollection, very much over the last couple of years. But they knew he had it in him, and they liked the way he moved, and they knew if you're going to be a bottom six usable forward, you got to have that club in the bag. So Struds, they've invested in on the blue line. They invested in Emberson. Like, they've put some time into developing some guys, understanding what they lost last year. And I think it was really smart, and it's taken some time, but it's paying off.
Well, it's time for me to ring the Mark Stewart coach bell. I haven't rung that one all year. He's doing a great job. This guy, it's credit his system, right? The system works, what he's doing, and the push down. I love the push down. So if you're not familiar with that, that's when you see the Oilers forward get to the middle of the ice and then force that, whether it's a winger or it doesn't matter, or player, whatever, or a D-man, push him back down the wall rather than let him have access to the middle of the ice. And they push him down, and that D-man pinches up, and there's nowhere for them to go. So credit to system as well. And the system is giving the players confidence. Now the players have confidence in the system, and they're just rolling through games with this PK.
Love it. All right, that was Struddy's World, brought to you by Timber House Developments. Time for Brownie's favorite part of the show. Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. If you need a unique idea for your team or school's next fundraiser, they can help you raise money customizing a variety of options. Their world-famous jerky, over 13 flavors in the all-new jerky and pepperoni bundle. Free shipping Alberta-wide for the month of January. All orders over $55 will get you that free shipping. For more details, visit albertajerky.com. Brownie, give away some points, my man.
Well, Well, let's start. I got 24 brownie points to Brett Kulak, who, despite the shrug on the hit by Zadorov, was +2 on the night. He had 2 points. He led the team with 24+ minutes. I tell you, he has been exceptional all season long, whether he's leading the third pairing, whether he's flipped over, he's playing with Nurse in the second pairing. I thought Kulak had another excellent hockey game and continues to allow the Oilers to decide what they want to do at the deadline, what kind of defenseman they're going to trade for. I know that Struddy talked about it earlier tonight, but I got one huge brownie point for Stuart Skinner coming up with. It wasn't a busy night for him, but he needed to make one big save at one big moment, and it was the one on the shorthanded breakaway that turned into the Connor McDavid goal the other way. That ended the game. It would have been 1-1. It turned into 2-0. That was game over for the Boston Bruins. So a huge point for Stuart Skinner. I've got 72 brownie points for the combination of Jeff Skinner and Adam Henrique. You know, Skinner had a very, very slow start to his Edmonton Oilers tenure. Couldn't crack the top six. Healthy scratch. Been on the bottom down the fourth line. Adam Henrique, slow start to the year. They've been together the last couple of games. They've been excellent. And with the addition of Zach Hyman, that line, it creates. And tonight it scored. Adam Henrique, a big game. You got to give credit to Skinner. That's 3 or 4 very good games in a row for him. So a combination of Skinner and Henrique gets some brownie points tonight. Minus 55 brownie points to the National Hockey League. Strud, you're right. That is the dumbest rule in the world that Stuart Skinner doesn't get a shutout. He played 55 minutes of this game. He stopped all 26 shots, and he doesn't get credit as a shutout. Now, again, it probably doesn't matter at the end of the day, but in the old days, you would have things in your contract for a certain amount of shutouts. What if he's one shutout short because the NHL robbed him of one? That is a dumb rule, should be changed. And the last one, I got minus 60 brownie points to my buddy Schauger because it took him a full 60 minutes to shimmy, crawl, baby step towards the fence at the Grand Canyon. But after getting close, he bravely stood behind 4 children and a dog and looked over their heads to see the bottom of the canyon. So, Schauger, thank you to your beautiful wife, Randine, for allowing us to watch the videotape of you bravely looking at the Grand Canyon.
Right under the bus. Wow.
Buddy,
You
how
guys,
tight were your
like-
plums? Your
Oh
plums
my
were
God,
so
Strud.
tight.
It was so bad because, so we go to the Grand Canyon and it's just massive and your brain is not computing. And then the area they allow you to walk is like right at the edge. And then you're out on this outcropping and there's these railings. You are like right out on the edge, staring into the abyss. My brain was not ready for it. And I got so rattled. And there's these kids with their family and parents and all this. And I was sweating bullets. So, yeah, a little chat with Randine about passing on family
so
videos
good.
to the fellas and protocol.
So good. Well, you'd love our group chat, buddy. With Randine, it's the funnest group chat I'm in.
Oh, yeah. By the way, so we were driving to the Grand Canyon the other day listening. We were belly laughing on the way to the Grand Canyon, listening to you two donkeys do the pod the other night by yourselves, and how Zuby talked about Shona being on vacation with Randine and I. Oh my gosh. We were...
Yeah.
Oops.
Creepy.
Little slip of the
Yeah,
tongue there.
no.
Randine's
awake?
name escaped me. I didn't even catch it. I had to think about it after when you guys said. I don't think Shona's there.
That was good. All right, Brownie, good stuff tonight. Love the debate, buddy. Respect your opinion to death and love the debate. It's what makes doing this pod with you fantastic, pal.
Lots of fun today, guys. Enjoyed it.
See you, Brownie.
All right. See you, pal. That is Rob Brown. Okay, as we go to break, our top prospect, Ryan Reed, put together a quick prospects report. So we're going to go in the system tonight. Some of the Oiler Young Guns are having a nice little run, as he is about to outline for you. Brought to you by Longshots Indoor Golf and Sports Bar, their premium indoor facility equipped with state-of-the-art TrackMan technology, perfect for golfers of all levels. And they got a fantastic sports bar atmosphere, fully licensed kitchen that just will not disappoint. Check them out in Sherwood Park or visit longshotswithaz.ca. That's longshotswithaz.ca. Here's Ryan Reed going in the system.
The Bakersfield Condors lost 4-1 on Sunday to the Henderson Silver Knights, but still have won 6 of their last 10. They sit at 8th in the Pacific Division. Matthew Savoy has lit up the AHL as of late with 10 points in his last 5 games, including 3 goals. He turned 21 years old on the 1st. Connor Carrick has recorded 8 of his 15 points in the last 10 games, while Noah Philp recorded a multi-point night on Friday and has 16 points and 8 goals on the season. With the recent uptick in production, Sam O'Reilly is on pace to record career highs across the board this year with a projected 30 goals and 40 assists. He has 6 goals and 15 points in his last 10 games. 2024 6th-round pick Dallin Wakely has been on a tear in Barrie as of late, recording 9 points and 3 goals over his last 5 games with the Colts. 2020 5th-round pick Maxime Berioshkin hit 30 points on the season and now has 7 points in his last 10 games over in the KHL. Bo Akey finishes World Juniors without a point for Team Canada, while 2023 5th-round pick Paul Fisher appeared in 2 games for Team USA and picked up a point to accompany his gold medal. 2022 7th-round pick Yoel Mata has come on late while captaining Vermont with 16 points on the year and 8 of those points coming in his last 5 games. I'm Ryan Reed, and that's what's happening in the system.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Oh, I'm taking a beating here in the stream. People reminding me of the mouse video that I gave up of my wife. I'd kind of forgotten about that. So yes, turnabout is fair play. Oh my god, that's hilarious, says starting over at 61. Payback for the mouse video, says Art Ma. Hey Art, how you doing, buddy? Schauger should play for the Oilers, it looks like. T-Man, maybe suggesting I'm looking a little timid. There was another good one that said, where is it? Oh, there it is, from Gord Parchewski. Shoggy looked death right in the eye and said, not today. Yes. Self-preservationist to the end. All right, welcome back to the show. Let's see who might be taking a trip, shall we? Courtesy Alberta Blue Cross. If you're planning a trip, whether it's a dream vacation, quick winter escape, or a trip to watch the Oilers play, don't forget travel insurance. Alberta Blue Cross has got you back with emergency medical care, cancellations, lost baggage, and more. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more. Struds, potential trade targets, not necessarily involving the Edmonton Oilers, but some guys we think might be ready to take a trip.
Yeah, so you're looking around the league and trying to find guys, and there's you're getting closer to it. So I'm looking to San Jose Sharks' Mikhail Granlund. He's been around for a while, over 30 years old, and just a smart centerman. Had a pretty good run in the NHL, and it kind of got away from it. He signed a deal and didn't quite go as well. And now here he is with the Sharks and having a really good season. Offensively on a team that is growing. He's beside two really playing quite a bit with young players. His 5-on-5 goals for and against is pretty good, but he's a smart centerman, and I see a lot of value in a player like this for a playoff team. It's on his last year's deal at $5 million, so it's not going to kill you. But I see a lot of value in a player like this. These are the types of players I think they're important to bring in. I would somewhat compare him, Shogger, and you can agree or disagree, a little bit like when the Oilers brought in Adam Henrique, right? Here's a guy that can play a lot of different places. He can help you score. It's pretty decent at defending. Like he touches the game in a lot of ways. He's not coming in as your first or second line center, but as your third center or fourth center, if you're that well off, I'm not sure which team is that, but I think that this guy makes a lot of sense. The problem for the Sharks is he's doing a pretty good job mentoring some of those young players there, or at least playing with them. So do you want to move that out and jeopardize that? So what's more important? And I think, Shog, when I look at, they don't have a lot of draft picks. For a team that's been this bad for this long, they don't have a lot of draft picks upcoming like the Montreal Canadiens do. So I think you have to move them. But is it worth it compromising that for their young players he's been playing with? I think he's with, is it with Smith or Celebrini, or he's playing with young players.
Yeah, some interesting points on this player. So the other thing to keep in mind here, the San Jose Sharks don't have any retention spots left. So they've used up all of theirs. So how many teams can afford $5 million to go grab this player? Now, I do believe you could get a third team involved, right? You have to trade him somewhere, and then they can retain and move him on to the eventual, if it's a contending team that wants to bring this player in. I don't think many contending teams are going to have $5 million to bring him in. So you probably got to get another player involved. You can't retain salary, so the return isn't going to be as good. The Sharks really backed themselves into the corner when they decided to retain in that third spot. And I think this is where they potentially feel the hit. They gave up that first round pick for Askarov too, right? They grabbed their goal, which is good. They got a goal. But that's why they don't necessarily have that pick. So I could really see them grinding hard trying to get a high pick here in return. And I think they have to move them. You're not in a place where you can hang on to players into unrestricted free agency without a lock stock guarantee that you're going to be able to keep them.
Yeah, those are all really good points, especially one about the buyout or the retaining money. So it probably devalues, well, it does devalue the player because now you got to get another team in there to take half. So I'll be, potential teams. I mean, there's the Oilers. I don't think this makes any sense for them.
No.
But there'll be teams out there that are looking for a third line center, and I believe that he would slide into that position seamlessly on any team that needs it, much like Henrique did for the Oilers last year.
He's put up some good offensive numbers.
Yes.
Like he's not at that point of game, but he's hovering in and around there.
Close.
And it's not like he's got a ton around him, right?
No, and he's not getting killed. He's not getting killed defensively playing with young players. So he's holding his own. Because, sometimes not sometimes, most of the time, young offensive players aren't too worried about their own end. They're taking chances. So he's holding his own there.
All right. We shall see if soon enough Mikael Granlund might be taking a trip. That segment courtesy our friends at Alberta Blue Cross. All right. We want to do a deep dive on another one of Struddy's blue liners. Dive deep into the defensive brain of Struds in our core blue liners segment. Brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, they got your back when it comes to health and safety compliance. From creating and managing tailored health and safety programs that meet all legislation and core requirements, they support client operations every step of the way. The website is www.hsecor.com. hsecor.com. Any tennis matches recently with old Tom there, Struds? Has he
we
resumed the woodshed at all lately?
No, we resume. I think he actually jumped into another class. Like, what's this guy's problem? He just wants to give me a thrashing on the tennis court. Like, geez, I've got an ego too, buddy.
So he's jumped back up to the class where he belongs. So you're suggesting that he just dropped down in skill level in terms of the division he was competing in just to curb stomp you, and now he's hopped back up with the other good players? No,
he's gone into another class I'm in. So now he's not in one class, but two classes I'm in to give me a beating. So I'm like, what? Why? What's your problem, man? Like, find someone who's good. Is Andre Agassi not available to play against you? So
like Trent Frederick chasing around Corey Perry. Like, eventually you're just gonna have to drop your mitts and take a beating, Struds.
I have. I've taken a beating many times from him. I don't know what his problem is. Like, find and get the right level, man.
And I say that with all due respect to Corey Perry. I'm just playing around.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into Brandon Carlo. Guys, it's no surprise. I love these types of D-men. He's humongous, absolutely humongous. He moves really well. I know what, Shogger, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but he skates well and he's really big. If you don't know him, he's a little bit like Darnell Nurse. Like he really does get around the ice well. I don't think he's as quick as him, but he's huge and he covers over so much space. Like he had a couple puck races today that I'm like, oh, this guy's going to get caught, and he didn't get caught. He really moves well around the ice well for a very, very big man. Right shot D-man, so those are always coveted, a big guy like that. But he does make some pretty decent plays. Right now he's playing with Zadorov, so between them they're about like 14 feet high, so they take up a lot of space. And I think the Bruins are trying to create that shutdown pairing that takes up a lot of space. And you can debate whether it's working well or not, but he's not a power play guy. He's on the penalty kill. But again, I feel that he doesn't move as well as Nurse, but he's a taller version that moves close to and covers as much ground with his length and size as Darnell does for the Edmonton Oilers. So that's kind of a bit of a poor man's comparison, but just give you an idea.
Interesting. See, and the areas where I would challenge you a little bit, like I don't think that there's an edge there with Carlo that's very notable. And I actually don't think he has, he doesn't have a history of putting up numbers in the range that Darnell Nurse has shown in his career he can put up. So I feel like Nurse is a little more dynamic in terms of the offense that he has the ability to put up and the edge. Or am I missing that in Carlo a little bit? I don't know that I've seen that from him much.
No, so just to be clear, the only parts I'm talking about that are similar are the size and the skating. The skating. That's the only two things. Yeah, I don't think he has the same shot as Darnell. Well, I don't think. I know he doesn't have the same shot.
So is he just a taller Brett Kulak then? Like, is he?
I think Kulak's a better skater than both of those guys, and Darnell's a really good skater. So don't I'm talking about really good skating defensemen. Now, I'm not talking about Cale Makar, but for big guys that get around, this is. I think Carlo gets around really well for his size, and I would compare his skating to Darnell for how much ground he can cover quickly. Yeah, and then because he's so big, he takes up space. But like the offense is in there. Like he's not running the power play. I don't think he's even allowed to watch the power play, but he kills a ton of penalties for that team. And at $4.1 million, hey man. Like I'll take that all day long. Like I like that player at that number. When you look at his partner beside him's at what is his partner? 6 or whatever Zadorov's at. So Carlo's got a good little deal there for himself.
Been in the league for a long time too. He would have come in under Chara, I believe, right? Would have spent some time and mentored under Chara a little bit as a bigger body. Has almost 600 games of NHL experience, and that's a player that they've banked on. They've been comfortable moving some other guys out of that city because they've believed in what Carlo could turn into, I think, Struds.
Yeah, and they've had some pretty good D-men. So you look at, McAvoy, Carlo, now Zadorov, they're trying to build this up and try to keep this going. And they value size, obviously. You look at those two guys specifically. Pretty good group.
All right, there's an in-depth look in our Core Blue Liner segment brought to you by HSE Core Services. Zuby, love the number on the stream tonight, buddy. We have had an active discussion going on in there, a few different discussions, but lots of talk about Nikita Zadorov, lots of talk about the quality of the Oilers' play tonight, and we're going to dive into a bunch of that. Oh, no, wait a minute. We still got to take a lap, don't we?
Let's take a lap.
Did I forget about that segment? Should we take a lap? Yeah, there's other stuff going on around the league. We should probably dive into some of that. I got ahead of myself. Sorry about that. We got a jam-packed show tonight. I love it. Yeah, let's see what else is going on around the league, courtesy Acon. They're always looking for quality people over at Acon. So if you are looking for a job, go to acon.com and click Join Our Team, and they will show you a comprehensive list of everything that they have available in the Edmonton area, the Alberta region, really across the country. They're one of the original leaders in heavy industrial contracting in this country, but proudly operating in Edmonton as well. And they're always looking for quality people. So that's acon.com and click Join Our Team. Okay, Struds, what else is going on out there, buddy?
Well, something I think that's really important, and the NHLPA, a mental health training program launched by them about a year ago, is now going to expand across the American Hockey League and the East Coast Hockey League. So before it was just players on NHL contracts, NHL, but now it's all three: AHL, ECHL, and NHL. And I think that's huge. That's 1,000 people. So it's kind of a program that you can reach out, and if you need help, they'll help kind of direct you for where you can get help from. And I think it's really important, and it's more of a preventative measure. So if you want some tools to help with it, to understand mental health and recognize things that are maybe going on within yourself or your teammates or your family members, and I wish I would have had something like this, because there was things I knew that were maybe off about some teammates, but I wish I could have. I didn't really know. I was 23 or 24. I'd never seen it before.
Right.
But now, with hindsight, it's easy to see. Not easy, but it's clear to see. So I love this move by the NHLPA. And honestly, for the cost, I think since it's been launched the year, I think there's been 80 some players that have reached out. And so let's say you get, another 200 guys, including those other. I think it's fantastic. Find the sport wherever you need. I think long term, it's good for the game and good for each individual.
Yeah, I love the fact that they've spread it across all the different leagues, recognizing that it's not just NHL players or AHL players across a few different leagues definitely need it. And we're in a different time and space right now. I'm totally comfortable sharing that, my company came through for me in a huge way with mental health support after about a year and a half or so of covering the Humboldt Bronco bus crash. We did their first broadcast when they got back on the ice. We did an in-depth documentary. It was basically 18 months of dealing with the families and, talking to people that had been through some really tough stuff. And of course, what we were going through, our crew, was nothing compared to what the families were going through. But there is a thing, Struds, I learned this, called secondary trauma. And when you're exposed to people that have been through significant trauma like that, and you're exposed to them over the long period of time, you develop something called secondary trauma. And it got really messy for me. I really struggled for a while. And I remember TSN came to me and they were like, look, man, like anything you need, like however long you need to get yourself in counseling, you go do it. However many appointments, however much money, just take care of yourself. So when your company steps up for you like that, like the NHL stepping up for its players, it means a tremendous amount, super important. And I got the help I needed and it was amazing. And, it's been good ever since. So yeah, I love that you brought that one up, pal, because I have some personal experience with that one. And if anybody out there is struggling, highly recommend, man. Don't ever hesitate to ask for help.
Yeah, no, it's a great initiative. Okay, and then Chris Johnson, one of the insiders, and I've got to get the wording right for this. About I can't stop watching Vancouver Canucks. The whole story, what's happening there with Elias Pettersson and JT Miller, it's like a drama. So I can't help it. So, anyways, the wording Chris Johnson used when talking about those that the Canucks are exploring maybe what the potential return would be on either player. But I want to use his wording to make sure it's clear. This is Chris Johnson saying the Canucks are serious about considering moving him. So they're serious about considering moving him. So they're thinking about moving him. It's basically, to use English. So again, those are his words. Those are exactly his words. I wrote them down after listening to it. It feels like this can't go on. You can't just keep it going. I can't believe two such good players can't get. Imagine if Leon and Connor couldn't get together and couldn't get along. Like how that would break a team. So, I don't know if it was him or someone else mentioned Carolina Hurricanes as a past suitor, maybe a potential one now. But it is incredible, Shaga, that this might happen in this season. Blows me away.
Yeah. Okay, I got a radical idea. That's a terrible idea, but I'm just going to bring it up and throw it out there because why not? We'll have a conversation about it. See, this is the part that bothers me about this. Both of these players at separate times signed contracts understanding the other one was going to be there long-term too. They knew when they signed those contracts, he's part of the team. And in order for you guys to have success, you're going to have to figure it out and get along together. So now for this to have become something that is getting in the way of winning to the point where the organization might be looking at moving these players, how about this hardline approach, Struds? How about this? You don't even have to take sides. This is a bad idea, but I'm bringing it up anyways. Healthy scratch them both until they sort it out. How many days would that take? How many days would that take, buddy? 3? And how's that for sending a signal? Guys, this is on you. You two are highly paid professional athletes. Sort your crap out. Do it for the sake of your teammates. Do it for the sake of the team. You're highly paid. Sort it out. Healthy scratch them until they come out of there with a bro hug and are ready to go and get on with life. Terrible idea, but who knows?
Yeah.
It might be better than trading either one of these great players and not getting much in return. Terrible idea.
A massive amount of short-term damage, because as soon as you do that, everyone knows there is a problem. You're legitimizing it. You're saying there is.
Everybody knows there's a problem.
I know, but there's kind of
it.
there's stick handling around it a little bit. So you just basically say lock them in a room.
Talking about trading
you guys
them.
are friends. Yeah. No, I guess.
Just be like, till you guys get your stuff together. Yeah, you're not, and then they can sit there and watch the team scrambling, trying to maintain a playoff position for a night or two because they can't sort whatever it is out, the two of them. How selfish and ridiculous would you feel sitting there in the press box next to one another, watching your team get lit up 5-0 because you two can't bury whatever hatchet you've got in your hand?
Well, to be clear, the Canucks are really struggling. Like, they're in a free fall right now. They're barely hanging on to a playoff spot here, guys. So your point's well made. I like where your head's at. It won't happen, but I'd get behind it. I'd love to hear that conversation.
Drastic.
Talk to those two guys.
Terrible idea, but drastic.
No, not
because
terrible.
I believe, Struds, I believe it's on them. I believe it's on these two.
Fair
These
point.
two are highly paid, multi-million-dollar athletes that both knew what they were signing up for.
Yeah.
Wiping your hands of the other guy is not an option.
Fair point.
Allowing it to continue to affect your team, not an option. So figure it out.
I hear you.
And it's on them to do it. So shine the spotlight on them, man. No longer needing to protect these players. Shine a big old spotlight on them. And then go figure it out, boys. Everybody's watching. All right, that was Taking a Lap. Brought to you by our good friends over at Acon. Now it is time for Zuby to hop back in. We've missed you, buddy. Come back in. Are you going big box today, Zuby? You going big box?
I'll come up in the 3, but I gotta
love it.
Gotta play the
Yourself in
graphic
big
first.
box there, buddy. Time for Ask Us Anything. Brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies, an Edmonton-based independent electric wholesaler offering a wide range of products from lighting and lighting controls, wiring accessories, control and hazardous products, serving electrical contractors working in Alberta's oil and gas, commercial and residential and OEM sectors. Check them out online. bjelectric.ca is the website. All right, Zuby. What are the people saying tonight, buddy? We ready to wrap the poll? Should we start there?
We can, yeah. It's been a crazy night on the stream. It's been extremely, extremely active. And I've been doing my best to keep up. And I'm sure that I've probably missed some pretty good stuff that folks gave us. But let's get to the poll because we did get nearly 400 votes on the poll tonight. So the question was, how do you feel about the team's response, or I guess lack thereof, to Zadorov hitting Stu Skinner? So we had needed an immediate response, came in at first place, 34%. Not ideal, but no biggie, 28%. I'm fine with it. Get him on the power play, 23%, or inexcusable all the way around, 13%. Now, I was kind of mentioning before, we're talking about like, we kind of had two that were like, they were okay with it, and two thinking it needed a response. And those came out almost even because we ended up with 51% in those two middle ones. No big deal, and I'm fine with it. And then needed an immediate response, and inexcusable came in at like whatever 48 or something like that. So
right down the pipe.
It was actually pretty even.
Crazy.
It was actually pretty even.
Times have changed, Struds. Times have changed, buddy.
Well, the game's changing. Right? So we're all kind of moving along with it.
We'll get back to there in some Ask Us Anything. I wanted to, because we just talked about the Canucks. It's too bad Matt Blom isn't on the stream tonight because he would be loving all this. Well, not really, because it's not positive stuff talking about his team. But so CK Pond had what I thought was kind of an interesting comment. He said, of the two, I would keep Pettersson younger, and when Miller was away, Elias came back and performed decent. I think that's the best hockey, at least statistically, that Pettersson played this year was when Miller had took time away from the team. So I guess the question to you guys is, who, if you're running that team, who would you prefer to keep, or would it just matter what the return you could get to move one of them would be, Struddy?
Yeah, I think the return makes a big difference. I'd probably go with the younger player, but guys, JT Miller's a heartbeat of that team, and you get the sense he's a difficult teammate at times, but he drives that team. How do you let that guy go? Look at the playoffs last year; he took him as far as he could. Pettersson was invisible.
Yeah, that's a really tough one because I think, Pedersen did play well in his absence, and if it really is a situation where you believe that Pedersen's being stunted by whatever's going on between him and Miller, you think, well, okay, if Miller's not there, maybe you get a better Pedersen. But then you also think, wait a minute, we got a guy who is not going to be as good a player because he's not getting along with one of his teammates. How soft is that? So how do you bet on that guy whose game falls off because he's not getting along with a teammate? I have a hard time leaning into Pedersen. They've already leaned into him with the contract. And now if you're questioning, can we lean into this guy for these reasons as well? You can find a taker. I might focus a little bit more on the guy with the competitive edge that maybe you need to settle down a little bit in terms of his intensity with some of his teammates.
Still on that topic, we'll get back to more Oilers stuff, but Aaron St. Pierre said, did you hear there was a report, JT Miller for Zibanejad with the Rangers was a deal that was apparently turned down by the Canucks, widely reported today. How do you feel? What do you think about that deal? Do you think that would have got close? Maybe there's a pick in there or something that might have pushed that? Or do you think that it sounds like that was a non-starter for the Canucks altogether, Shaggy?
I didn't. I'll fully admit I was on the golf course. I'm sort of halfway on. Where was the reporting from?
I've widely reported on Twitter. I couldn't give you the exact source, but it said that basically the offer came, it was reported the offer came from the Rangers and was turned down, Zibanejad for Miller. And I didn't see anything indicating there was any other pieces.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like Friedge. Looked like, and maybe some of our guys had it too. I'm not sure. I'm just doing a quick scan here. Yeah, I know the Rangers haven't been super thrilled with that guy and where his game has been, and they're a team that's looking to shake things up. So generally, you got one team that wants to shake things up with high expectations, and they're underachieving. It makes some sense that there would potentially be a flip there. But again, I would have a hard time removing the competitiveness from my lineup. And then you look at what Zibanejad's given him this year, Struds. You're certainly not replacing it with that.
How did Chris Drury make that call with a straight face? Hey, I got an idea. Miller for this guy. Which guy? Well, you know the guy. Which guy? What's that guy's name again? Zibanejad. Yeah, we'll take Zibanejad. Like, there's no chance I would make that trade. Not a chance in the world I would take Zibanejad for Miller. Nothing. It's not even a pick away. It's miles away. Zibanejad is not a competitive player. You have Pedersen, who at times doesn't look like a competitive player. Now you're going to have two guys doing the same thing. Not a chance. Not even close. Not even close. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Okay, that sounds pretty good, but I want you to throw in K'Andre Miller. How does that sound? Or Braden Schneider. Yeah, we could do that. Sure, we can make that happen. Not a chance, guys. Not even close.
Okay, let's get to Skinner and Zadorov and all of that mess. Mike Materi says, sure wouldn't mind having Zadorov on our team. Now, there's been discussions of comparing him also on the stream. There's lots of Zadorov versus Matt Rempe comparisons. But is Zadorov a guy that you would, and then let's leave the contract out of it. We're not suggesting the Oilers are necessarily going out of him. But is Zadorov enough of a player as well as that physical element to be the kind of guy you would want on your team, Struds?
Yeah, he's not even close to Rempe. I don't know who brought that idea, but they're not even the same. Like, that is so far away. I think that's almost worse than the Kreider for Miller trade proposal. Like, that is so bad that they're not even close. Yeah, Zadorov, I'd love him on my team. I don't like his cap hit. I think that's gonna be a really tough one. But again, you're putting the cap hit aside. I'd love him on my team.
Yep, I agree. Too long, too much money. Probably, not going to happen. But I don't mind the player. I don't mind the player if he's in and around your third pairing. You got a solid D, and big guy can take care of business. Not a great puck mover, but he can compete. So I would be okay with him.
Okay, this is, I think, Neil Garrity being a little bit controversial. He says whoever came up with the narrative that teams can't turn on the physicality in the playoffs is just plain wrong. Of course they can, and the Oilers will. Struddy, you've kind of talked about them. You think they'll ramp it up. I guess I don't have a question there, unless you still agree that's your feeling.
100%. So let's take a look at the back end. There's guys that can be more physical than they have been. Start with the two centers. Connor and Leon are way more physical than they have been this year. We've seen it. You look into Evander Kane coming back. So that's three guys on the front that will add 1 or 2 hits a game. That changes things. And Kane is way more than that, assuming he comes back. Nuge, you're not going to get a lot of hits from. Hyman, not a lot of hits from him, I don't think. I think Paul Kozin will ramp it up even more. I think Arvidsson will ramp it up even. So there's physical players on this team. The physicality is not my concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just caution that breeding into a team that it's perfectly fine to go game after game after game after game without even thinking about finishing a check, I think is a dangerous recipe. I get it. You turn it on in the playoffs. There was a stretch of like 4 minutes tonight, Struds, probably Boston's best stretch of the game, where Skinner had to make all those saves. You know what else they did? They ratcheted up their physical play right in that period as well. The Boston Bruins for like 4 minutes played like playoff style hockey. They were finishing every single check. They were driving the net. They were throwing everything at the net, reckless abandon. That was a snapshot of what playoff style hockey should look like. Mm-hmm. And the Bruins were incredibly physical and had success against the Oilers. So that's kind of what I think you need to be prepared to deal with as a team. Yeah. And I think if you're sleepy for an entire season, thinking you can just go flip is a little bit of a mistake. I think they need to be somewhere closer to the middle where they were last year.
On the same topic still, sort of Reverend Hans had a nice comment. He says, physical does not equal hits. The Oilers are physical, but they're not pursuing violence for its own sake. That's a loser's game. And someone else just said on the stream, I did read a funny comment here that said, Simple 101 said, last I looked, Oilers won 4-0. Yeah, I wish they'd hit more and lost instead and sent a message. So, I mean, that's the flip side of, that's the other side of the argument. Continuing on, let's talk about, though, someone said, this is a good comment. I saw this, so I'll bring it in. JL said, even Schwede would have jumped in on to help out. Although I don't think he's ever jumped in to help out me, but I'm like a rock in there. No one bowls me over. I'm too low to the ground.
Too strong.
T-Man said, and I think this is an interesting perspective on it too. This is a regular season game, literally in the middle of the season. But he says most of us remember what happened to Dwayne Rollison in 2006. Is the NHL going to allow this Zadorov crap, as he calls it, in the playoffs? So that's where I actually think the bigger problem with this type of play can be is you lose a goalie, you knock a goalie out in the playoffs, or if it happens in the playoffs, and then I don't know. When you think back to that.
Yeah, sorry, finish.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Take it.
I was just going to say, and both of you guys. So let's say Skinner was a player. Let's say that was a player that was standing there with the puck. Like, was it just me, or was the principal point of contact not basically the head? Like, did he not take that, like, in large part the head?
Yeah.
So the idea that it was interference, like you're not allowed to hit a goalie because it's what about the headshot? What about the headshot on the goalie in his crease? So one, you're not allowed to hit the goalie. Two, it was a headshot. Like, there's no talk about that. It was a headshot on a goaltender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get. I mean, you're driving the net. The goalie's down. I don't know. I know you're trying to get me riled up here, and I can't. I've been back and forth on it, and I knew this was going to come tonight. And I'm sorry I'm riding the fence, but I don't feel passionate enough to respond. I know how I would have responded to it, but he's a huge man, and the guy's on the ice. Like I don't know. I agree with Brownie.
Watch that Tampa video again, Struds. Watch that Tampa video again and tell me, was anybody in any sort of jeopardy at all? Like, Bortuzzo's no shrinking violet either. But everybody was there. Everybody was there. There was strength in numbers, and it's Pat just a no-doubter.
Pat Maroon's out there, right? So, and the captain led the way, for sure. Like, so
Captain led the way. Captain had his gloves off first.
Yeah. So, I get in there. I don't know. Robert Bortuzzo is not as big as Zadorov. I guess, I don't know. I think the game's moved away from it, man, from that kind of response. I guess if they get churned out in the first round, we can revisit this. If they win, get to the final again, what do you say? They lost because they didn't do it? I mean, I don't know. I was more upset about the Hartman hit on Bouchard, no response, than this. Much more upset.
Really?
I remember you being upset.
Love
about
it.
that. Okay, a couple couple quick comments that I wanted still on this topic, and then we'll get into something else.
Yep.
Hank 809 said he felt like I think the happened 5 times comment is more about the league not protecting goalies or other players. And then Stealth Legends asked this, with Skinner being run over multiple times this season by a player on the opposing team, do you think it's a coaching decision or a team player decision to respond, or for their decision not to respond? Do you think that's stated? Do you think that's coming from somewhere, or that's just a decision made in the moment?
No chance. You can't say, hey, if our goalie gets run, no one's going to jump in there, right? You're not saying that as a coach. Now, you might say, we want to play between the whistles, so we don't want to, we don't want to scrap after the whistle's blown. That's going to, drag us out of our game. But I've never heard a coach ever would say, if your goalie gets run, don't do anything, because it's so unlikely, right?
This team, that's something that the players have to keep in check themselves. And I think that this team over the last couple of seasons, Struds, there have been multiple times where incidents have happened in games and they have not been happy with their own response. And there's been discussion amongst the players about it. And we have seen in the subsequent games where they push back harder. Now, often Evander Kane is in the middle of that, but there have been times when he's been out where they have also done this. I firmly believe the Oilers will recognize this as a time where they didn't respond the way they needed to. And I think we'll see an uptick and an improvement in this from them. If Troy Stetcher would have been in there, I wonder what he might have done tonight.
He's feisty.
Well, isn't he the one that, who did he jump that?
Somebody brought that up too.
Right? What was that? Who was it? He went after, it was a big guy he went after, wasn't it?
Yeah, who did he fight? He fought someone. But, I mean, again, he's
the
biting
bump
his
Skinner.
ankles, right?
I'm just saying.
It was Rip City Step said it was on someone on the Flyers. It was in the Flyers game, he said.
Couturier.
Couturier, yeah. Not a huge guy. Bigger guy than him, but anyway.
Okay, last one. Jeff Cummings here came with a statement, and I just thought we'll end on something kind of positive and a little bit different. His hot take, ask us anything. Thoughts on my hot take? Stu Skinner is more clutch than Connor Hellebuck. I think that's the key word there. He's saying he's more clutch than Connor Hellebuck. Your thoughts on Jeff Cummings' hot take, Struddy?
That's pretty hot. So, in fact, it's so hot, I'm not sure I can touch that one. That one is, I think Stu Skinner is going to get the job done for the Oilers this year. But if you have a choice between the two goalies, you're taking Connor Hellebuck. I don't think there's any hockey person who wouldn't do the same. So with all due respect to Stu and to Mr. Cummings, he's way off on that hot take.
Now, what I will say is that in the biggest moments, Stu Skinner stepped in and did his job and did a great job doing his job. And Hellebuck hasn't necessarily had those opportunities yet. But, I think the point is Stu Skinner needs to be viewed a little differently maybe by some, because for some reason we still hear this stuff about, Gibson and other goalies and this and that. You're nuts. The Oilers have fantastic goaltending for what they pay, and Stu Skinner has shown he can play well in the biggest game and do his job. I don't think the Oilers are making any kind of moves on the goaltending front. All right, is that it, Zuby?
No, that's it. I would just say on that front, I almost think I think if Pickard had not continued his great play, then they could have said, we're going to go find a veteran, a seasoned veteran to be the bat. And then you have that other option. But Pickard's been so good that it's ruled that out too. So I agree with
Calvin Pickard doing what he's done has just saved them from that Jack Campbell mess. Like the goaltending they're getting is so cheap when you factor in what those two make. And then you factor in the buyout, not so much, but it saved them from that disaster of a contract. That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Okay, we pushed the scoreboard deep into the show tonight because it was an early Oiler game. Wanted to give a few scores a chance to marinate, but let's take a look around the league. Brought to you by Canadian Club. The all-new CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%. Their highest proof CC Club Classic to date. Full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak, with a butterscotch finish. Struds, what else was going on out there tonight, buddy?
A few games still going on. They're important to Oilers, but the ones that are finished, the Wild beat the Blues 6-4. Jake Middleton, a goal and assist in his first game back. The big D-men getting her done. And then the Rangers in overtime the Stars beat the Rangers in overtime. Rangers had a 3-0 lead in this game, guys, and then they blow it up.
Ouch.
That's a tough one to sell. And then 2 games going on. Midway through the game, the Flames 2-1 over the Ducks right now, and the Golden Knights are 2-1 over the Sharks. So if you're an Oilers fan, you'd love to see the Knights get a loss here so the Oilers can creep a little bit closer to their buddies leading the Pacific Division, the Golden Knights.
Pretty tough little bit of scheduling, Struds. Like, this is nasty. The number of cities they're in, the number of games they have to play. A quick little jaunt home for the Oilers, man. They're off to Pittsburgh coming up next, and Pittsburgh is a team with some newfound life this season. What do you do? Do you subconsciously pace yourself a little bit at the start of these trips, you think?
Well, the good thing is, number one, they're not playing a lot of back-to-backs right now, so they do have some rest time. Even, they had a day off, travel day, and then they practice Monday, then Tuesday game. I'm guessing they fly tomorrow, no practice, play Thursday, again, Friday, then play Saturday. So it's not killing them. So I think that goes a long ways because you're used to that every other day pace. The problem is the travel and the time change is what really got to me. Your legs feel like dog turds the next morning. But luckily, because where they were in Boston tonight, it's the same time zone as where they're going next. So that helps a lot. And that's pretty short.
Nasty weather happening out there too, right?
Yeah.
Some nasty weather, so the chances of delays and stuff.
They might even flown tonight. If I'm guessing. Boston and Pittsburgh. That's not that long. Like, it'd be less than an hour, I bet.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap the show with our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Take the first step towards a stress-free dental experience. They've got modern dentistry for today's patient, the most up-to-date dentistry, sedation, implants, and so much more. Check them out at gallerydentalyeg.com. That is gallerydentalyeg.com. You got something in mind tonight, Struds?
I do, and I'm going to congratulate Mr. Cummings. And first off, though, Connor Hellebuck. He gets his 300 career win tonight in their win against the Preds, and he's the fastest U.S.-born goaltender to get to 300 games, and then the third fastest ever behind Vasilevsky and Jacques Plante. So pretty amazing for him. I didn't realize he was in kind of that kind of speed of getting up to those numbers. So that's worthy of a play of a day.
How about the Winnipeg Jets? How about the turn in the last 24 months or so for that organization? Yeah. Getting those guys to sign long-term when everybody thought it was all falling apart at the seams there. And Hellebuck and Scheifele both sign and stay, Struds. And now here they are, tearing it up.
Can't believe it. A lot of good Canadian teams right now, right? I mean, the Canucks are sorted out. The Oilers are good. Winnipeg, Ottawa seems to be finding some traction. Toronto, Montreal's finding traction. And I think Calgary is hanging in there. I mean, every team is in a playoff spot or a playoff race. That's the dream.
All right, Oilers in action against the Penguins in a couple of days' time. We'll drop another podcast after that one. Big 4-0 win. Real solid performance tonight over the Boston Bruins. Thanks so much for joining us. Good job tonight, Struds. Appreciate it, buddy.
Likewise. Good to talk to you guys.
All right, Zuby, fine job as always, my friend. We'll chat in a couple of days, pal.
Sounds good, guys. Struddy, if you had one shot. Oh, shoot. I can't even come up with that. I was going to do the Eminem. You had one chance. No, I blew it. Never mind.
You had just one shot. Just Struds, is that your mom's spaghetti on the shoulder of your
yeah.
All right. No.
Okay, you two rappers, eh?
Let's get out of here.
Ronnie Dangerfield. It's like I always say, I get no respect. You know what I'm saying? I get no respect around here.
All right. Thanks to all of you for joining us on the live stream. The jokes are getting worse, which means time for us to go. We'll chat in a couple of days. And big thanks to our title sponsor, Play Alberta. See you soon.